we got Mike Carson on the line. One thing I want to talk about, and I wanted to shout out actually, is the real. They got a new podcast dropping in a couple of weeks called The Blog Era. And, you know, you mentioned ILLROOTS in the first segment there. And I wanted to know, what are some of your like favorite moments or stories from the era, you know, the blog era, whether it be the Illmore. I'm pretty sure there's crazy stories about that. But what are some of your favorite stories?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. That looking back, that whole time is like a blur to me. And like, sometimes I wish I was like soaking it in a bit more during the time, but I think we were just trying to get it and like work. But man, there's so many stories. Like obviously the Illmore was like, looking back, it's like a feat. It was like, you had all these rappers performing for free, like starting in like a house, and then it like got big and got corporate, which like was ultimately not, you know, it went away after that. But like, you know, in one night being able to see like Wiz, Sean, Kendrick, I don't know. I don't even remember who else was in there that year. And it's like a hall that holds like 100 people, and like the floor is caving in. And it's like, somebody just posted, I think it was like a 10-year anniversary of like that moment when Kendrick did Mad City, like right when it came out, and like the floor was caving in.
I want to say Andrew Barber posted that, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Andrew Barber. Shout out Andrew Barber. That was definitely like a highlight. Just all the Illmore stories, man. Like, you know, shout out to Scoremore, and like, you know, the back and forth, and like trying to convince certain people to put certain people on the stage who are now like superstars now. It's hilarious looking back on it. But what else? I think, man, just being in Chicago during that time, and like being like 18 with a camera, and like just eager to like work and eager to shoot, and like having so many artists that were in like the beginning of their career and like were just down. It was like, you know, really dope. And like, a lot of the relationships I have today are, you know, from that era and from that time, you know, whether it's like I met Big Sean when I was, you know, 18, and shot a video when I was 18. And that's like a 10, 12-year relationship. And like, you know, all the things we've done together. And that a lot of that started from me just shooting a free video. Me and Mike Wax just like locking in, and like working with Sean before his album came out. And like people like the Cool Kids, and like Chip the Ripper, Mac Miller, all these people that were just like, to be honest, like our friends. And like, you know, a lot of things would just come from us pulling up on somebody at the studio or their house, and us just being like, let's shoot a video, or let's do this thing. And I think, you know, that thinking, I think, laid the blueprint for a lot of things that are done now on a larger scale. And I think, you know, just then I don't think everyone knew the magnitude of what was going on. But I would definitely say like that era was like what shaped me, because it allowed me to direct, it allowed me to have like access to people, allowed me to design clothes, it allowed me to design a stage. So I think it was just like summer camp every day, for lack of better words.
No, that's dope. I mean, one of my favorite, I kind of blog era ILLROOTS kind of memories was just when you guys moved to LA, and you guys had like the penthouse downtown, and like just the energy you guys brought to that, and just like, you know, just the people who were coming through. And that was like the early Travis days. And it was just like, it was just like really community building. And, you know, you guys were really the catalysts and like, you know, the connectors for a lot of this stuff.
Nah, man. Yeah. When we moved to LA, that was dope. I think we were in North Hollywood. Then we had an office in Hollywood. But yeah, it's like Travis, like I lived, you know, around the block from Travis, and was like at his house every day, and like before Al Farrell. So like just putting that in perspective of like just seeing people grow. And then like, yeah, like you said, like we were just down, and we were just ready to like make stuff. So it was dope to just connect with people like yourself and like Anwar, and just lock in and like learn about LA too. It's like I was born here, but like I didn't grow up here. So I've been to LA, 11 years now. And it's been like, you know, I think those couple first years were like the true blueprint for like what I was able to do in my career.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just a legendary just crew in itself. I think my favorite moment from the Illmore, it was when, and I wanted to be there too, was being able to see Young Thug and Lil Wayne perform together that one time in 2014. I was so mad. Everyone knows the story of how I couldn't get to South by Southwest that year, but I would have fucking given anything to see that shit up close.
I was the last like fire year. No disrespect to any of the years after, but like I remember like Future performed that year at like 2 a.m.
Yep.
It was crazy, man. Like people were just pulling up, and I think it was just at that point it became like the legend of the Illmore that artists were just like, oh, I need to perform, like, and these guys are not getting paid, like they're just pulling up and like rocking. Maybe some people got paid to do, you know, it was like a corporate situation, but like 80% of the people you saw on that stage were just there because they wanted to be on stage. And like, I think I would say my biggest thing I miss about that era is like the accessibility and like, because I think now it's like, you know, you drop a song and it's hot, you're on Rolling Loud stage in front of 20,000 people and like nobody can touch you. Versus like then you could have a hot song. And because of, you know, there was no streaming and I think the magnitude wasn't there. Obviously it's better for the artists now, but like for a young creative in Chicago, everyone had to come through Chicago. So we were just, anytime somebody came to Chicago, we were shooting a video and it was easy to get in contact with people. We pull up to their show, it's only 300 people there. Or we, you know, we fly to New York or we fly to LA and like just bang out a bunch of content. And it was like very easy to lock in. So I definitely missed that aspect of it. I think like South by Southwest in general, there was like a level of like humility and artist development that kind of had to happen, where it's like no matter how popping you were, you had to go perform at a bunch of showcases at South by, and like so people knew who you were, and it was like a dope way to just like be able to, you know, touch people and see what they were about. So I definitely missed that, but you know, I think it obviously it's better for the artists now from a financial standpoint, and like who wouldn't want to be on stage immediately right after? But you can tell, like, you can kind of tell the artists from that era, like how much things like live shows mean to them because they like had to have a good show. And like, you know, like the viral moment of Travis performing in front of 50 people at South by with him and Mike Dean, like that would not happen now. It's crazy.
It's so funny. Every time I see that video, I laugh because I was there. And like that was a Pandora show. And like, it was just no one at that show at all. But then like the next show was like this MTV showcase show. And it was like thousands of people there. So it's like, I like the context of it when it's up. It's like, hey, you know, Travis even performed for 50 people. But it's like, that shit was kind of capped, honestly.
That's valid. I think maybe how my years mixed up, but I vividly remember being down there with Travis before. Maybe it was a year prior. And it was like, yeah, I think this was before Upper Echelon came out. Because I know what you're talking about. Because that was when him and Tip performed Upper Echelon. But I remember like having to fight to get Travis on stage at the Illmore. It was like a thing. And not because of like, you know, we obviously knew Travis, but just like other stuff going on. It was like, yo, this is Travis, or like, oh, this is Chance the Rapper. And like, so maybe it was the year prior. I wasn't at that show, so I don't remember what year that was, but I think it got lit for Travis, you know, very, very soon after.
Do you feel like something like that era, and particularly like not really just the blog era, but like what came from it, you know, like all of the people like yourself, and I mean even to like a certain extent you too, Josh, like a lot of people who came up during that era went on to do like really fantastic things. Like, do you think that could be sustainable today?
Well, I'll let Mike go
I'll let
first.
you answer, Josh. I think you're fine there.
My instant answer is no. I just think about the Illmore, man. I think about the networking that happened at the Illmore. All the people we met, like you mentioned the guys with Scoremore, Sasha, who I'm seeing this weekend because he's producing Dreamville. And like, you know, Claire, who went on to do great things and manage great artists. So like just the networking of that time was just so real and like genuine and authentic. And now, you know, everyone's a tweet or Instagram message away, but you don't have that same connection. And, you know, I even remember the year, I guess it was 2014 was when Kendrick and them performed. I just remember, okay, that's 2013. I remember being outside and not being able to get in, but I was outside with Solange. I was outside with Young Scooter. I was outside with Waka Flocka. Like, so it's like, you just don't even have that kind of community of artists like in the same place anymore. And that's why I just think it's different now. Like, it's not the same kind of come up and grind. But it's not to say that it doesn't happen. It's just different. That's my perspective.
I agree. I think there's a level of entitlement, which I think in some sense is probably, you know, rightfully so for some people. But like, I think like that time it felt a little like the egos were a lot smaller because I think people felt like they had to do certain things and like they were down to do it. It was like, I'm down to pull up on this thing. Whereas now everything is about a bag, which is, it's cool, but and not even on the artist side. I think even on the creative side too. Like everything is about a bag, which is like I respect and I think is important. But I think, you know, sometimes like, man, if I was talking some bag talk when I was 18, bro, I would not be talking to y'all right now.
Man, for real, nah, yeah. Like I did so much for the love, and to this day, I still do so much for the love. And I think
same here.
One thing that's missing from this current, generation.
Same here, and this isn't the I heard the intern debate, so
okay.
I definitely feel both sides, and like I pay people, so I'm never like seeking anybody for free work. But if somebody hits me up and is like, "Yo, I'm just down to work," that's dope, and I'm gonna like listen to it, and then I'm probably gonna pay you anyway. But I think it's just like more so a mentality thing.